Think about it for a moment. Let's say that two of the ladies here who are very evangelistic and very godly and care about souls, they go out to somewhere in Detroit or Chicago or some metropolitan area, and they decide that they are going to share the gospel with prostitutes. And so as they are sharing the gospel with a group of hardened, seasoned prostitutes, the police come by with a paddy wagon and round up all the prostitutes and throw them in the paddy wagon. And because of association, these two dear sisters are thrown in the wagon with them. Now, the hardened prostitutes, they will be laughing, chuckling, telling jokes. They're in the paddy wagon. They've been through this a million times. This is not a problem for them. The two dear sisters are sitting there almost to the point of being nauseous to vomit, terrified, feeling horrid, wanting to die, wanting to hide, wanting to escape. They get to the police headquarters and they're all booked and fingerprinted and roughly treated. The girls are all sitting there in a cell laughing and talking to one another about how quickly they will get out. But the two Christian ladies are sitting there again, beyond almost the ability to breathe, so full of shame, so full of guilt, so full of association with evil. It's something they do not know. It is not common to them. Now, as I said, that's a pitiful illustration. But you and I were born as creatures who drink down iniquity like it was water. Revel in sin and boast in it. We can no more understand the wickedness, the evil of our sin than a fish can understand he is wet. But Christ, who knew no sin, became sin. We, prior to coming to know Christ, lived under the wrath of God to such a degree that the Apostle Paul called us children of wrath. Christ never knew anything but the favor of his Father. Never knew anything but this is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. And yet on that tree, it all changed. It all changed. Now, I want us to look at several things. I've actually brought notes today because this is an intricate thing. I want you to see it. It's very important. Christ bore our sin, and Christ became a curse. And you say, yes, Brother Paul, I've heard some of your sermons, you preach on that. No, we're going to go much deeper. I think 2 years ago when I was here, I spoke something of this, but we're going to go farther now. Christ became a curse on that tree. As the scriptures say, cursed is everyone who does not abide by all the things written in the book of the law to perform them. You are under a curse. To be redeemed from the curse, Christ had to suffer the curse in your place. He had to become a curse. Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made, having become a curse in our place. Now, what is a curse? It's the complete opposite of blessing. And what I want to do today is I want to go through both blessings and turn them on their head, show you the opposite of blessing. And I want to go through curses and show you that every covenant curse in the entire Bible fell upon the head of the Son of God when He was on that tree. Every curse that should fall upon and crush the covenant breaker, which is you and me, in order to spare us, had to fall upon Him. First of all, if you want to know something about a curse, then think of something about a blessing. One of the greatest passages on blessing that we have in the entire Scriptures is the Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5. But I want to switch them around. You know them. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. So on and so forth. Well, now we're going to turn those around, and I want you to realize that this is what fell upon Christ. According to Matthew 5, the blessed are granted the kingdom of heaven, but the cursed are refused entrance. The blessed are recipients of divine comfort. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. But the cursed are objects of divine wrath, and so is Christ. The cursed are satisfied, but the blessed are satisfied, but the cursed die miserable and wretched. The blessed receive mercy, the cursed are condemned without pity. The blessed shall see God, the cursed are cut off from His presence. The blessed are sons and daughters of God, and the cursed are disowned in disgrace. This is what fell upon Christ. Listen to me. You listen carefully. If you can learn only one truth from everything said this week, then learn these words. The only way you could ever be blessed in anything is because He died cursed in everything. It adds a whole new meaning when someone asks you, how are you doing? And you go, blessed. But while you think blessed, then let your lip tremble for a moment, because you are blessed only because He died cursed. How we can so quickly learn to play in this superficial age of ours, learn to play marbles with the diamonds of God. That blessing of yours that you so boast of, and rightly so, think of the cost. Every time it rolls off your lips, think of the cost. There was a transaction. You are now blessed, but only because He was cursed. Now, there is an illustration of what it means to be cursed that I have used for years. Can't find another that would be better. But it is this. To say that someone is under the curse of the law, the curse of God, because of their sin, it's to say this, that the last thing the accursed person will hear when they take their first step into hell is all of creation standing to its feet and applauding God because God has rid the earth of them. See, that's why there's not much power in gospel preaching anymore, because we're too afraid to say things like that. Under the band, away with them to eternal destruction. Yet Christ redeemed us from that curse by having that pronounced upon Him. Thus He suffered outside the gates of the city.